This is what you must do to end sleep paralysis for good. Repent to God. They must obey the authority of Christ.
Okay, I've been putting off making this video. I've been not wanting to make it. I mean, I feel like I have to make it. This is an issue that plagued me for years. Practically ruined my life, like fucked me up. It hurt my school, it hurt everything. The problem I'm talking about is sleep paralysis. I used to call it night terrors. It would happen to me. It got to the point where it was happening like every time I fell asleep, maybe like 8, 12, 13 times a night, until finally I would just sleep through it, get through it. It would happen at least 2 or 3 times every night, sometimes like 15 times. Right when I'm falling asleep, it would happen, and after I'd finally fight out of it and regain my, regain control, I would be so utterly frightened in sheer terror, like just pure fear. I would call my dogs into the room. I would turn all the lights on and the televisions on. And the woo-woo explanation I came up for it, and what actually cured it, made it go away, and for how long I believed it, that there was something to it, my explanation, was for a long time. And I tried to stuff this whole thing into the back of my mind and not talk about it or deal with it or think about it. And then I come across websites like this one.
Sleep paralysis occurs when the brain awakes from the REM state, but the body is still in a state of paralysis, which they say prevents the body from manifesting movements made in the subject's dreams, and thus causes hallucinations, mostly of, quote, evil presences in the room.
And it's funny because there's not a lot of information out there about this type of shit. So we're going to talk about sleep paralysis, StopSleepParalysisDotOrg solution for stopping it, for making it stop. And what's really going to blow you away is their solution, seen here.
This is what you must do to end sleep paralysis for good in your life. Number 1, recognize. You must recognize what it is. Demons. Number 2, responsibility. You must take responsibility for what you recognize. Number 3, repent. Repent to God for participating with what you recognize.
That solution of what he said about to praise Jesus and all that, the average person who comes across this website and does that and praises, asks for forgiveness and for Jesus to come and stop the demons, the crazy thing is, it probably works. For the average person who's been ravaged by this, if they follow this website's instructions, it will probably stop the sleep paralysis. Now, the thing where it's disingenuous is the reason why it's probably stops when you do that. Not because Jesus fucking comes into your heart and fucking battles the demons or whatever. No. The point is it's not actually, it's the act of saying these things out loud. Let me tell you what I was led to believe. And it's funny because they include in their video, they talk about the occult and stuff like that. And it's so weird because I was having these night terrors for years. Had gone on for like 2 years, on and off, and sometimes getting really bad. I had no idea how to stop them. I didn't know what to do. What mine were like was, it's just like right when it was starting to happen, like right when I'm falling asleep, my eyes would open, could not move. You're completely frozen, trying to fight out of it as hard as I can, and you're looking around the room, and it's probably like, and you're hallucinating. Like you can see things like sitting over at the edge of the bed, like breathing all hard. You can hear things fly over you, like flap from one room to the other. You feel a presence in the room. Something horrible, something fucking frightening and bad and wrong is in the room, and it's focused on you.
I know what sleep paralysis is, and I know how to stop it. You may have guessed by now that sleep paralysis is caused by demonic presence in the room.
And you just want to fucking get away from it so bad. And at times they had gotten worse and the room would catch on fire. I would float up in the air up to about 2 inches away from the ceiling and then float across the room all the way to the other side of it, float back, and then like finally struggle out of it and fall down onto my bed. You know? Obviously, I wasn't really floating. And even then, I still had a scientific sort of a viewpoint, like a critical mind, but it was so realistic that it caused me to question if that really was happening. And when your eyes are open and you're seeing you're floating this close to the ceiling, you know, and you come back and you get dropped and you experience that and it seems so real, you know, that's very powerful. It's very, very frightening. The experience is varied, you know. Sometimes it would be way, way worse than that. It would just be the craziest shit would happen. And it was all this trippy shit, you know. And it's funny how they bring up the occult. It could happen because people look through the occult or whatever.
I will list a few of the common causes. The most common that I have dealt with is people that have in some way been involved with, on various levels, even very light level, occult practices, such as the Ouija board, tarot cards, certain types of meditation, channeling, even obsessive research about the occult or UFOs can be the cause for some people.
Because I could not come up with a life of me for an explanation, right? And then one of my friends reminded me this like couple months before we started doing that shit. We had one of my friends had come across a copy of the Necronomicon, and we had taken it and we had started just making fun of it and reading out all the names in the book, and I cast this spell and that spell and blah blah blah. And we especially made fun of this one that's supposed to be the demon of some shit or another. I can't remember what it was. But, you know, we fucked around and made fun of it, and, you know, we just made fun of it with no respect for it whatsoever. So somebody mentioned that to me, right? They said, dude, remember when we were messing around with the Necronomicon? This shit started like right after that. First I was like, haha, you know, that's stupid, you know, but I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh my god, like, what if that had something to do with it, you know? So I set up, like, out loud, I said out loud at night, one night in my bed, and I said the name of the demon that we had made fun of. And since this all happened, I would refuse to say the name of this particular demon, because I totally was full on believing, you know, like I was completely believing in the woo-woo-ness of it, and like I was afraid to say his name anymore because I thought it would bring them back. But anyway, I sat up in my bed that night and I said aloud his name. I said, I said the name for messing around. I'm sorry. I apologize. I did it. It's my fault. Please stop messing with me.
Number 1. Recognize. You must recognize what it is. Demons. Number 2. Responsibility. You must take responsibility for what you recognize.
It stopped. Well, that night I didn't have any. Next night I didn't have any. Like a couple nights later I had one or two of them, like pretty bad ones, but it only happened like twice in that night, and then it let me just sleep. Then I went for like a week without it happening, and then I went for a month or 2 months or 3 months, and then like once every like maybe 6 months it would happen, you know. It would just pretty much, it was not, you know, it stopped after I said the demon's name out loud and asked for forgiveness for doing it. That's gonna have a pretty powerful effect on someone, like, because you witness apologizing to the demon and then it going away, it's stopping. So you may, and so now a little, you know, I'm older now, and I'm looking at it, and I watch this video, and I'm like, they're saying that you have to say this shit to Jesus and assert yourself and atone for your, something about that works. Something about admitting out loud some shit that you did, something about it works. Now, do I believe that there had anything to do with demons from the nether realm? No, absolutely not. And understanding it better in this context and the way that I do now, I'm completely untouchable. That's why when the video says the only way to stop it forever, for good, is through Jesus.
If you are not a Christian, even though you may have won the battle by calling out for Jesus' help and sincerity, they will keep coming back, as they still have authority over you. They will continue to have this until you renounce them and give your life to Jesus.
And I don't have any problems with them anymore. With the sleep paralysis, it's completely gone. I have no fear of it whatsoever, and it has nothing to do with Jesus. Now you say, well, how come you won't say the name of the demon that you had made fun of, that you thought was causing the sleep paralysis? Wouldn't I be at least willing to say the demon's name? Why would I still be afraid? You're 100% right. The fact is, though, I'm not afraid. The demon that we made fun of, his name was